Your Central Committee said this is just the sum of the total of a cascade of failures in our systems. Americans can't imagine living in a country where housing is a right, with mental health care as a right, with free public transit. It's just so depressing how far people are from even understanding what a humane society looks like. Yeah, we're fucking animals. We are animals. We're violent, bloodthirsty animals cheering on the villain in the situation because of a possible hypothetical justification for why he had to act out in the way that he did. When all the witnesses surrounding the incident say that Neely did not pose a threat. Who's more of a threat? A fucking homeless person who's going crazy on the subway? Or the guy who killed him? Or, and I'll take it one step further, cackling hyenas all around that are now celebrating the murderer instead of highlighting the homeless person that was first victimized by the systems and then personally victimized by the murderer. Who's more violent? I think the people celebrating the fucking murder are more violent. It's crazy. What are we doing? We have no law and order in this country. We have none of that. How can you say you have law and order and you think there's no law and order because homeless people exist because they've been fucked over by the systems over and over again with no adequate mental health? How can you say there's law and order in this country when a dude who was like trying to fuck underage girls online, who's a current military member and an Uber driver, gets in his car with his fucking gun, drives over to a Black Lives Matter protest, shoots a Black Lives Matter protester who was trying to like defend his quadriplegic girlfriend that he was wheeling around, kills the fucking guy, former airborne, by the way, the victim in this circumstance, in the state of Texas, and is found guilty by a jury of his peers for the murder. Why? In the state of Texas, this is the stand your ground, castle doctrine state. How did this person get found guilty by 12 men and women that are his peers? Because he talked about it. He wrote about it everywhere where people could hear him. He fantasized about murdering Black Lives Matter protesters. He said he's going to go to a protest and kill a protester. And it was so much that beyond a reasonable doubt, they found him guilty of murder. What did the right do? What did they do? They looked at that situation and said, nah, he killed a BLM protester. We want that to happen. We fantasize about that all the time. We want to fucking make sure that that's legal. They pressured, ironically, also handicapped, paraplegic Governor Greg Abbott. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning that is because the dude who died was a Black Lives Matter protester who was trying to push his quadriplegic wife away. So, like, there isn't even that level of empathy in Greg Abbott's mind. Like, think about that. Greg Abbott now saying, send it my way. I am going to pardon this person. I'm going to pardon someone who was caught dead to rights and was found guilty of murder in the state of Texas. I'm going to pardon him because guess what? Law and order means law and order for us, not you. Law and order means if you kill the type of person that we don't like a Black Lives Matter protester, then yeah, you're fine. You're clear to go. That's what law and order means to these fucking freaks. And now we're moving beyond just like allowing cops to kill whoever the fuck they want on sight, especially black people, especially unarmed black people. They could do that. That's fine. We move beyond that now. We're deputizing random people that are also acting out the desires of a white supremacist violent state. It's no longer the state that holds the monopoly of violence. It's those who act out the desires of the state that have the monopoly on violence. It's cool. Even in a blue state, in a blue city like New York City, you got a cop that's a fucking mayor that's defending a guy who just killed a fucking homeless person on the subway train. What are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? This is how violent we have become as a country. We are the barbarians, okay? And I don't mean that in some cool way. I mean, like, literally. It's barbarism. We are the violent ones. It's not the dudes that get fucking brain broken after having to brave the elements for years and years and years because they got priced out of the housing market. They became houseless. They had to fucking self-medicate. They started doing drugs. They started panhandling and dancing to fucking make money so they could put food on their fucking, put food in their mouths. Not even on their tables because they have no shelter. They wanted to put clothes on their backs. And then they were begging for food and water in their last moments where they got fucking mercilessly executed by a dude who took the matter of the law into his own hands. He didn't even want to wait till it was outsourced at the next fucking train station by a cop. He said, I'm going to do it myself. And now we're defending that. We are the violent ones, not Neely. Do I believe that he was not violent at any moment in his life? I'm sure maybe he was. But it certainly seems, according to the witnesses that were in that car, that he was not violent in that moment. He was not physically harming anyone in that moment. He was being a nuisance. And if you've ever taken the subway or taken any kind of public transit, you know what it's like. It happens. Yes, there are homeless people on the fucking carts, on the trains, on the buses. Okay? There are homeless people that sometimes even constitute a real threat. Okay? And then there are non-homeless people, people with a fucking home that are significantly more violent and demonstrate that threat. But because they are a part of the normal society, you haven't depersonalized them in your minds. You don't think about it in the same terms. At most, the way that we experience homelessness is a fucking nuisance and sometimes a violent one. That's the only thing we see about homelessness. We don't think about the steps that it took for a beautiful young life to turn into what you see on that fucking video in the lead up to that violent action, in the lead up to that murder. We never think about that. We just see homeless people as like annoying. At worst, that's the way we experience it. Meanwhile, many of the people that defend that execution are like one bad healthcare crisis away from being Jordan Neely. That's the craziest part. 40% of this country does not have $400 in emergency funds. 40% of this country. Fucking kidding me? That means you're one unfortunate accident away from being Jordan Neely. Because God knows we don't have a lot of fucking, Chapter 11 bankruptcy style money saving provisions for the working class. The best you get if you're in a fuckload of debt due to unforeseeable conditions is maybe a little bit of fucking welfare. And even that is conditional. And even that's constantly being, talked about as though it's a moral hazard. You got no safety nets if you're working class in this fucking country. And you are so close to being just like Jordan Neely. And you don't even know it because, hey, You got a steady diet of Mountain Dew coming down your way. You can go to Applebee's every now and then and pay for a $5 jalapeno popper. You got a new TV in the living room, so you don't even think about it. You're like, fuck it. That's not going to happen to me. That's crazy. You don't know. You have no control over your workplace. You have no freedom. You spend 80% of your lives, 80% of your lives in the fucking workplace, a place where you have no control over whatsoever. People still talk shit about the writer's strike. Oh, I don't like their fucking writing. I don't like the content they're putting out. Meanwhile, you know, you work. Where do you fucking work? You work as an accountant. You know what I mean? You think people like what you do? No. Is that what we're doing? We're making qualitative assessments on your fucking job and how I personally feel about it for you to get back a larger percentage of the fucking value that you literally generate? You're a white-collar guy who sits and listens to me at fucking work all goddamn day, making it seem like you're working every time your manager passes by, and you're over here making assessments on, well, do you deserve a percentage of the fucking value that you generate? Only if I like what you're doing. Come on. We're all doing the same dumb shit, okay? And the difference between someone like yourself and someone like Neely is that his spawn point was worse than yours. We have to have more empathy for people. We have to have more empathy for people, even if we are not close to them. Even if we are not close in socioeconomic proximity to them. Okay? Meanwhile, I gotta fucking sit here and defend my existence and my policies and my politics and my ideology because I'm fucking rich. Rich from streaming. Every fucking day. You want to know the real reason why I have to defend it? Because motherfuckers are so far removed from having empathy for the other, for having empathy for someone even in a similar circumstance to them, that they immediately start shooting the messenger. It's not because like there is any sort of genuine hypocrisy that you're seeking out here. It's because you hate hearing it. Don't matter. You hate hearing it from a poor guy. You hate hearing it from a rich guy. You just hate hearing it. You hate the message. Because we have dismantled the humanity of every single American. We have dismantled it. You have no opinion on anyone that doesn't revolve around like, fuck you. What does this do to me? I don't give a fuck about you. What does this say about me? My feelings. Well, can we center the conversation around my feelings? I'll talk about a strike and someone will go, oh, that's ableist. I can't do a strike. Strikes actually put me in harm's way. I got fucking mental issues. I'll kill myself if I don't fucking watch Jimmy Fallon. You know what I mean? Like, why? Why are you bringing that up? You don't have to be so hyper individualistic. Oh, well, you know, homeless guy in a state of mental distress was executed. Well, guess what? You know, I'm a tiny woman and I'm scared. Okay? So maybe it was okay that this guy got executed. It's like, yeah, if you're a tiny woman and you're scared of the fucking black homeless dude, let me tell you something about the white guy that killed him. Okay? You should be just as scared, if not infinitely more scared of the other dude. Okay? Because he actually killed someone. You're scared of the hypothetical of the homeless guy. You should be way more scared of the other dude, okay? Because that other dude killed someone and almost got away with it and might still get away with it. Whew. Imagine trying to say, haha, I'm scared of the homeless guy that was murdered in this circumstance more than I'm scared of the guy who actually fucking murdered him with his bare hands. It's crazy. But that's what happens when you successfully depersonalize, successfully dehumanize an entire group of individuals. And I'm not just talking about the fact that he was black. That obviously is a compounding factor in this process. I'm talking about the fact that he was homeless. Okay? That's it. We've been conditioned into avoiding homeless people and seeing them as human beings because we see those human beings get destroyed every fucking day. We watch them brave the elements. We watch them take shits outside because there's no fucking public bathrooms. And if you had to step back and think this is a human being for a brief moment, you would fucking lose your mind. That's such a devastating thing to see. Devastating. Think about it. A real human being could be your mom, could be your dad, could be your brother, could be your sister. They're out there living in a fucking tent every night with fear that they don't know how they're going to feed themselves. Where the next food is coming from, they don't know. So, instead of dealing with that reality, instead of, coming to terms with the reality that we have, we have all these people that are absolutely destroyed all around us, trying to survive every single day, we decide to not see them as human because that's easier. Because if you think that they're fucking human beings, then holy shit, what are we doing to human beings? What are we allowing to happen to human beings right in our vicinity? And that level of depersonalization is how you arrive at this kind of action being defended by a broader population. Okay? That's it. That's how you get here. Now, this doesn't mean, like I've talked about before, that like it should be normal or you should have to literally be a social worker